Oh, hi. Hi. Hello. Hello. My name is Hadia Nureddin of Duets Learning, and I'm here to tell you my favorite tips about telling personal stories, about personal storytelling. Tip number one. Okay, we're on four. We're on tip. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm distracted. I'm distracted. I had a visitor. Have you Have you ever seen this woman before? Well, you wouldn't have seen her before. She's an influencer. Unfortunately, she only has one follower, and that follower is me on every platform. Basically, she's the voice that lives inside my head. Yeah, so instead of doing um, shopping hauls, she does hauls of my emotional baggage. She's like, "Oh, look, trauma. I got this for $9.99. That was cheap." Remember when that happened? Of course you do. Now, the person who lives inside your head may not look as eccentric as mine does. And she probably says the same things to you. No one cares about your stories. Your stories are boring. Ooh, wow, you got promoted. I guess no one's ever been promoted before. Makes you feel really small, like nothing you have to say matters, right? Well, she does like to tell me my stories are boring all the time. And look, I do agree with her on two things. One is that the boa really does make the woman. It just does. And the other thing I agree with her on is that stories are boring. Personal stories can really be boring. And in order to prevent that, you have to do the work. I'm not here to tell you that, your story is so important everyone wants to hear it. You have to do the work and pull out what you have learned from it and make sure that you've done it with purpose and intent, and that what you're sharing with us means something to you. Because look, if it doesn't interest you, it's not going to interest me. So your story is boring. And you know why? It's not for the reasons you think. It's boring because you think it's boring. Get behind it. Get in there. Make it matter. Make it matter to you in order for it to matter to us. But don't put it on me. It's on you. It's on you to make it matter. I mean, what is interesting anyway? It's all relative. There's a lot of things that go into whether or not a story is interesting. For example, well, first of all, there's relevance. Is it important to me? Like it may not be interesting to me if you're telling me a story that's not relevant. That's just the name of the game. So keep that in mind as well. Passion. I believe that's what separates the great orators. Orating is a skill, of course, and it takes practice and it takes work. But I can tell you, passion goes a long way. There's a lot of people that talk about the same topics, but only some rise above. And it's usually the ones who really seem invested, really seem like they care. That passion just shines through. And how do you find that passion? I just believe that stories that are more aligned with your values and what you believe and what's important to you is going to draw up that passion, right? Structure. A story, again, is not just a retelling of events that this happened and that happened and this happened. Make it interesting. Make me curious. Ask questions throughout. Tell me the ending first and then go backwards. Just do things to it to make it matter. And, I talk a lot about the story spine. The story spine focuses on change. It focuses on transformation. So picking a structure that is going to highlight that change is going to make a big difference. It's going to make it matter to me. And delivery. Right? I don't talk a whole lot about delivery, but it really seals the deal. Making that eye contact, making people see that passion. It could be through expression. It could be through the energy that you have is a big one as well. So yeah, a story being interesting isn't a matter of who it happened to and how it happened. It has all these different factors at play as well. But yeah, your story does matter. Your story is important, but you are the one who has to do the work. And believe me, I know she's always lurking in the background, undermining you, telling you that, you know, this story that you think is so important, that no one cares about it. But you have to do the work. And once you do that, people will care. It will matter to them, because what you're saying is going to reflect back to them their own image of what they've been through, right? But you need to tap into that to make it happen. One final thing I want to say is about emotion and stories. She'll be back right after I post this video. She'll return. Every time I ask people, what's great about storytelling? They always say the same thing: emotion, emotion. Well, stories don't have emotion. Stories aren't people. You know, a story isn't inherently emotional. It's up to you, the storyteller, to find out which emotions you want to trigger and find out the best way to do that. And also, people don't always respond the same way to their emotions being triggered. So keep that in mind as well. It's really up to you to find out, you know, which emotions you want to set off and how you want to do that. The story, it's not going to do anything. We can obviously tell you many stories. You've heard many stories that aren't emotional, right? You are emotional. The listeners are emotional. The question is, how are you going to take the skill of a storyteller and align those two things together and make it matter, right? All right. Until next time.